Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
Do you want to charge your car? We got a charger. Let's check it out next on Now Let's Review.
So this is the WOLFBOX EV charger.
You know what I like about it?
What?
It looks like the Cybertruck.
Kind of does look like the Cybertruck, doesn't it? Now when it's on your wall, it looks more like a welding helmet to me.
Oh. Yeah. It's really cool looking.
It's pretty cool looking. We have the 40 amp version, and that one comes with a plug. They also sell a 50 amp version, which you wire into the wall because plugs don't go that high amperage.
Exactly. So when you're looking for a charger, think about your use case, and first of all, think about the amperage. So you might be like, well, wait a minute, I don't know if I need 40 amps or 50 amps.
And if you're saying, I don't know what amps even are, that you're gonna have to do a little bit of research.
All right, so if you're confused by the 40, 50 amp, let me help you a little bit here. If you've got a 50 amp circuit, use the 40 amp charger. And you might be like, why? Well, because the manufacturer recommends that if you want to use the 50 amp charger, you should use a 70 amp circuit, which I've never really heard of. I've heard of 60 and 80. And that is because when you're charging a car, you're pulling a lot of juice all the time for hours and hours and hours. And electricity lines were never really meant to do that.
Right. Back for whatever reason, this is ancient stuff. Back in the day, they said, oh, you, Mrs. McGillicuddy, you will have a dishwasher and it will run for an hour and then it will allow all the wires and everything to cool down. And so, oh, great, it's gonna pull 30 amps, this crazy dishwasher, we'll put it on a 30 amp circuit for you. But if you have a charger that's going to be charging at 50 amps continuously, the electrical system didn't ever think that would happen.
Right, so you wanna oversize your wires. Anyway, and so you would go with a 40, you would plug it in and make sure that that is the right outlet for you. If it isn't, you're either gonna have to get an adapter or rewire the outlet.
Most likely you're gonna have to rewire the outlet because you don't want it really flowing through an adapter permanently. This is a NEMA 1450 plug. Make sure that it says NEMA 1450 on it. It could be a NEMA 1430. They look very similar. This pin would be like an L shape as opposed to a straight line, and it's really confusing.
Don't worry that you'll plug the wrong thing in because you can't, but the problem is you'd just be bummed because you
won't be able to charge your car.
Right. So that's the biggest thing we hear from people is just getting that wrong. So get that right, and then now we can move forward.
So we have a 40 amp charger, and the cool part about this is that it charges at 9.6 kilowatts.
Okay, but Jesse, I don't want all these numbers. I just want to know how many miles go into my car in an hour.
Depends on the car. This is kind of like how fast the gas pump fills up the gas car, which you usually don't think about because it's so quickly.
Oh, right, depends on the tank.
But it depends on the tank, and it also depends on how efficient your car is. So for a Model 3, this would get you about 37 miles in an hour.
Okay.
Which is pretty good because in 2 or 3 hours, you're talking about
100 miles.
Almost 100 miles, which is really, really nice.
And this is why you want this over a level 1 charger, which is just a 110 outlet, because that only charges at about 3 or 4 miles an hour.
Yes.
See the difference? 10 times more miles.
Now, I also should mention, though, that a Model 3, most of the time, is only equipped with a 32 amp charger in the car itself, meaning that it can only accept up to 32 amps. Nothing bad will happen if you plug your Model 3 into this, but it'll only take 32 amps unless you have some kind of special additional charger on board the vehicle.
Good point.
So there's so many different things to think about.
What's cool is that this has an app. And so with the app, you can change the settings from 16 amp, 24, 32, or 40, or if you get the 50 amp, up to 50. And so that's really cool. And you might want to think about, even if you have a Model 3, that maybe someone is going to come over your house sometime with something that can take the 40 amps. So maybe it's worth upgrading to this.
Right. I mean, the 8 amps difference is probably not going to make too much of a difference. But there are other chargers in the world that do just up to 32 amps and might be a little bit cheaper than this one. I want to talk about some of its different features. So let's say that you're charging your F-150 Lightning and charging at 40 amps, which is going to be really nice. One thing that you can do is set up this charger to accept an RFID card.
Comes with 2.
Comes with 2 separate RFIDs cards. And so what that allows you to do is set this up so that way some random jerk who pulls into your driveway and plugs in their car isn't going to get any juice.
Oh,
so essentially this means that unless you have the RFID card, this will not start charging.
Oh, so that's cool. So like if you're at work and you're worried that someone might pull in your house driveway and charge up while you're not there, it won't charge.
So this would be great if you have a small business or your home. Right, I mean, somebody could do that and you probably would be none the wiser. In this case, this charger is going to let you see what is happening with the charger itself, whether or not it's charging, and prevent somebody from charging unless they have the key card.
You know what else is cool? Because it's Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Normally with Bluetooth, once you go like 32 feet away, you stop communicating with it. Because it's Wi-Fi, technically you can be pretty much anywhere in the world and still be seeing what's going on with your car. And you might be like, well, I don't care about that. Well, I don't know, what if you're at your friend's house and you want to see how your car is doing for its charge, and then you're like, hey, I'm done with the ball game, but my car's not done charging.
Right. Now, of course, many cars have apps that let you know what the car is doing, and also let you schedule charging and things like that. But if you don't, like for instance, I have a 2013 Nissan Leaf. I could be charging it up off peak only by using a charger that can schedule charging.
Because your Leaf doesn't have that ability.
My Leaf doesn't have that ability. If you plug it in, it will accept charge.
So let's just go back for a second. What Jesse was just saying there is off peak. So, let's say at 3 o'clock in the morning, the electricity rates are lower in many places. And so if you charge at that time, you're going to save yourself some money.
Yes.
So it's good to not just charge the second you get home from work if the rates are high, have it start, and you don't have to go out and plug it in at 3 in the morning. So have it do that for you.
Right. Now, there are some cars that will do this within the software, and you can plug it into a dumb charger, but it's nice to have a smart charger because then you can set up whatever system you want. And that also means that if somebody else were to come over to your house and you don't want to be paying for the high priced electricity prices during the surge hours or whatever, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat.
No, and this adds up. I mean, look, you have an EV now, or else you wouldn't be here. And you're going to be driving that thing for probably the rest of your life. So why not save as much money every single time you charge? I mean, imagine if you could go to a gas station. I mean, people do this, right? On Tuesdays, gas is cheaper by 9 cents, so you do that.
Yep.
This is pretty much every night.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about how this thing actually works. On the back is a plate. We've already hooked ours up, but basically this is how you'd mount it. And it comes with all the screws and all the hardware that you need. 2 holes here and 1 hole at the bottom. So basically you will have this plate taken off of the charger. You can hold it up to the wall, install the 2 screws that hang it.
Really easy.
Then you take the plate off the wall, attach these screws onto the back, put the charger on the wall, and then it's hung. And then all you have to do is add the last screw down there, which keeps it in place.
And I would just say my little hack tip here would be to hold this up and make sure that you can plug it in to your outlet before you would do the mounting. You don't want to find out you're off by an inch and you don't have enough space.
Because this cable is pretty short.
Yeah, I would say that's like 14 inches.
So you're going to have to plan ahead. You can't just sort of put it in the room wherever you want and then sort of like a lamp or something, run the extension cord that comes with it to the plug.
And pretty much typically the outlets are going to be from 36 to 42 inches in your garage or whatever. So this is pretty perfect for where you want to mount this.
Yes.
All right. And my other recommendation would be like in the video that you're seeing here, put up a piece of plywood first, because when you drill through these 2 holes, you will not hit a stud on both. So if you put a piece of plywood first, paint it up nice, and then mount it, it'll look professional.
And they included really deep screws, so make sure that there's nothing behind it inside of your walls, whether that be pipes or wires, which there probably are in your walls. So just, it's something to think about, or you could use less deep screws, or you could hire someone who knows how to install this.
If you do my plywood method first, you might save yourself some trouble, because then you just need to use some fairly short, 3/4 inch screws for this.
Yes.
Which does mean probably a trip to the hardware store, but I think it's worth it.
All right, so let's talk about the charging cable here. It is 25 feet long, which is pretty long.
Yeah, we're kind of on 2 sides of this issue. I'm not a big fan of overly long cables.
I love the long cable.
He likes the long cables.
The long cable gives you the advantage of being able to plug in a car and then being able to unplug that car and plug in another car within one driveway, because this can basically be about or a little bit more than 1 car length away. You can basically keep 2 cars topped up using just 1 charger, especially when it's so fast.
All right, I will kind of concede it. The only reason I don't like them long usually is just cable management.
Right, and here's where I think that they did a pretty good job. The cable is thick and strong, but it's not too heavy, and it also has some pretty decent flexibility. So you can kind of see the level at which it will bend. And that just means that, yes, you know, the cable can get kind of a little bit tangled, but you can throw it over the charger. The charger itself acts as a bit of a hook to wrap some of the cords over, and they also include a hook that comes with it. Next, I want to talk about the business end. This is pretty much entirely plastic, which is completely normal for many EV chargers. The trigger here looks like it is glass reinforced, which means that it's going to be extra strong. The only thing to think about with plastic triggers is that sometimes this section can break off, meaning that you can unplug the car without telling it that you're about to unplug the car, which can lead to arcing. Just don't drop this.
Yeah, don't drop it.
Don't drop it frequently.
You can get a J1772 adapter to Tesla adapter for free when you buy it. So if you have a Tesla, get it. I would say even if you don't have a Tesla, get it, just so that your friends can come over.
This also comes with a rubber cover, which is really nice because it's going to keep the water out. This cover, by the way, is pretty nice. It's probably the nicest one I've seen. Sits on there pretty good. And it also has, I don't know if you can see in there.
Oh, they line up.
It actually lines up with the prongs on the inside. So that'll keep extra water out, which is good. It means that this will last a good long time.
And speaking of keeping water out, you can mount this inside, so in your garage, or outside. It is waterproof. So I would say it's great because you never really know. Maybe in a couple of years, it's been in your garage, but then you decide you want to mount it outside, you can do that.
One other thing I want to talk about is the management card that they send you with. I think this is actually a pretty interesting idea. So you have your RFID cards that let you start charging, and you can connect your app to and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all that great stuff. What happens when you either sell your house and you don't take the charger with you, or you sell the charger to somebody else? What you do is you give them the management card. What that allows you to do is hold that there for 10 seconds, and that resets the entire thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Normally, this thing is rather secure. It's already connected to Wi-Fi, not just some random bozo on the street can't come up and connect to their Wi-Fi and steal your charging or whatever. So this management card basically lets you reset all of that.
Now, a lot of people ask us if things are UL certified. There's a bunch of certifications. This one is CSA, or Canadian Standards. And so I don't know too much about the Canadian standards, so I don't know how rigorously this is tested, but this does have a bunch of protections. So this has over voltage protection, short circuit protection, grounding protection, leakage detection, we're talking about electrical leakage, and over temp protection. So all the good stuff is in there to make sure that this thing stays safe, because you're pumping a lot of electricity through it. And I just want to say what's really cool, I love this light here, which tells you if something's wrong. There's different colors for different things, green for charging, red for failure. And I don't know, we just got a Cybertruck, and as you're seeing here, plugging the Cybertruck into this is like, I don't know, looks like it was meant for it.
Yeah, I think that this charger is really good if you have a small business and you need a little bit of extra security, or if you live somewhere and you're afraid of people parking and stealing your electrons. Having the RFID is really nice. Having a whole bunch of just control over your charger feels kind of nice. It's nice to feel like there is a smart box that you get to talk to in between, the plug and the charger handle that can deal with that peak charging, that can basically be the brains of the operation, instead of having to either rely on a car to have the smarts, because you might upgrade someday and the car might not have the exact same thing that you had before. This would just keep everything the same. For
$500, it's a little bit on the pricey side, but it does have the Wi-Fi feature. And I think if that's something that you want, it's one of the smallest packages I've seen a charger come in. A lot of times they're big for no reason. There's a lot of air in there. This seems to be, they really compacted it down. So if you've got less space in your, let's say, garage, this might be the choice for you.
Yep. So thank you so much for watching our review. We hope it was informative and helpful. If you want to leave a comment down below of other things that you want us to review, we will check those out. And we will see you guys next time on Now Let's Review.